Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today I'm going to show you my team selection for Game Week 5, but now let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so at the end of the video I'm going to discuss a little bit about my plans and strategies from Game Week 6 onwards, but at the moment what I know for sure that is going to happen in Game Week 5 is me using my bench boost. So as you can see from the screen, I'm going to use my bench boost. We're going to discuss about that in a minute, but now let's just start with my defense. Obviously it's not going to matter which players I'm going to bench and which players are going to be into my starting 11 because I'm going to use my bench boost, but I tried my starting 11 to be as accurate as possible, and if I had the option to pick from Sanchez or Dubravka, I would probably start Sanchez. And yeah, I totally understand if you prefer to play the goalkeeper with a better fixture, that's totally fine, but I just rate more Chelsea's defense. I think that they have a good chance of keeping a clean sheet against Manchester United, so yeah, Sanchez would be my starting goalkeeper. My backline is Anderson, Richards and Milenkovic. Again, all these players with really decent fixtures, all of them are really good for defensive contributions. On my bench I have Pedro Porro, I have Esteve, so this is what you can see at the moment from my bench boost: Dubravka and Esteve against Nottingham Forest at home and Pedro Porro against Brighton away. Now the chances for clean sheets are not 100% there for someone like Pedro Porro. I can see Brighton scoring. Nottingham Forest were really bad in the last few game weeks, but the fixture is just great against Burnley. So yeah, really happy overall with all my defenders. Hopefully they're going to get me something, but now let's move to the midfield. Now moving to the midfield, this is how I'm lining up at the moment. Mohamed Salah is going to be my captain. I'm just going to say it. This game week against Everton at home. That's also because part of the reason is because we don't really have a really good outstanding captaincy option. Haaland is playing against Arsenal, Gyökeres is playing against Manchester City. There aren't really a lot of good captaincy opportunities. We're going to discuss about Aston Villa players in a minute. Watkins is playing against Sunderland, but the form is just not there for Aston Villa. They didn't score any goal in the first 4 game weeks of the season. So again, I just think that Mohamed Salah is the best option this week if you have him. Obviously if you want to captain someone like Haaland, that's perfectly fine, but I just think that playing against Arsenal away is probably the toughest game Haaland is going to have this season in general. So yeah, really happy with Mohamed Salah. I know that now everybody's going to switch to someone like Haaland probably with their wildcards in game week 6, in game week 8 or something like that, but Salah just showed a little bit what he can do yesterday in the Champions League. So I just want to say to you, don't write Mohamed Salah off as an FPL option anymore, because for sure he's going to be an option at some point at least. And yeah, if you want Haaland at the moment, that's perfectly fine, but yeah, really happy with my captaincy. That's not going to change. Wirtz, another player who a lot of people are doubting at the moment, and yeah, I totally understand. He blanked. He was a really terrible pick for me from game week 1, considering that he's new to the Premier League. To be honest with you, the fixtures weren't even that good for Liverpool to start the season with, so yeah, but I can see him improving in that Liverpool team we just saw in the Champions League. So game by game, Wirtz is going to play better. Now, if you don't want to take those price drops, again, just sell him this game week and buy someone like Palmer if you want, but I'm just going to keep him from for this game week, and we're going to see if I'm going to use my wildcard in game week 6 or something like that. Rodgers, again, I don't really want to have this conversation every game week when I'm just saying that the fixtures are amazing for Aston Villa. So again, it's fine if you want to keep Rodgers, if you want to keep Watkins, that's perfectly fine. If you're tired of them, just sell them, buy someone like Semenyo, which is a way better option in the future. But against Sunderland, this is the reason I don't really want to use my wildcard in game week 5, because I think that that team would be worse than my team, if you can imagine that. So yeah, Rodgers against Sunderland away, let's see what they are going to do. Reinders against Arsenal away is not amazing, but now you see on my bench, obviously my Ismail Assar is injured, so I'm going to use a transfer this game week. I have one free transfer, so I'm going to sell Ismail Assar and I'm going to buy another midfielder, which is going to be in my starting 11. So Reinders is going to be on my bench boost. This is how my bench boost is going to look like for game week 5. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, I just want to get it out of the way. So yeah, if I'm going to be a little bit lucky, then this bench boost is going to be decent enough. Now talking about replacements for Ismail Assar, because a lot of people probably are thinking about it. I can't afford someone like Semenyo. I don't think in particular that this fixture in game week 5 is amazing, so I really need to decide about my chip strategy, and we're going to talk also about that at the end of the video. If I'm going to use my wildcard in game week 6, then I'm just going to sell Sar for a punt player in Game Week 5. Maybe that's going to be someone like Xavi Simons, maybe someone like Kudus, maybe someone like Ndoye, maybe a Nottingham Forest midfielder, but I don't really have a lot of options this game week. Maybe someone like Harvey Elliott could be an option if he's going to start. So yeah, this Game Week 5 in particular, I don't really like the fixtures for the majority of the players, so it's going to be tough for me, but yeah, I'm just going to sell him and we're going to discuss about which player probably I'm going to buy. At the moment, I have a feeling about Xavi Simons, and yeah, maybe he's going to be in my team for Game Week 5 at least. But now let's move and see the whole team. Okay, so now you can see my whole team. My forward line is João Pedro, Watkins and Mateta against West Ham away. Again, if we're talking about fixtures, I'm really happy with my team, I'm going to be honest, but if you're taking into consideration everything that happened, how bad Aston Villa were in the start of the season, the comments about Mateta, he's going to need a break at some point, I think that for Game Week 5 he's fine. So yeah, no doubt about that for me, because Crystal Palace are going to have 1 week off after Game Week 5. Some comments about Robert Sanchez, that the second goalkeeper is going to play some games in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, but I think that for Game Week 5 again, Manchester United, Sanchez is going to be fine. Again, as I said before, I really need to decide if I'm going to wildcard in Game Week 6 or wait till Game Week 8 or something like that. So in the next 2 days before Game Week 5 deadline, I really need to decide what I'm going to do in terms of cheap strategy. But what I can tell you at the moment, I'm going to use my bench boost in Game Week 5 and I'm going to sell Sar, and my favorite players at the moment are Kudus, Xavi Simons, Harvey Elliott from Aston Villa, and someone like Ndoye from Nottingham Forest. But now let's see my plans also for the future. Okay, so now before showing you my team for Game Week 5 and also my plans for the future, I selected here, I want to take a look at what midfielders can I get if I'm going to sell Ismail Assar. And as you can see from the screen, I filtered for Game Week 5 only. If I'm going to use my wildcard in Game Week 6, obviously, and also I filter after under 7.4 millions. This is how much I can afford, and this is on Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to check it, the links are into my description. And this is what I was talking about. The midfielder options are just not amazing for me in Game Week 5, so I could go for someone like Minte or someone like Mitoma if I want to take a punt against Tottenham at home, but I just don't really like that fixture. I could go really boring with someone like Anderson, who has a great fixture against Burnley away, and yeah, that's pretty much basically almost minimum 4 points or 5 points for someone like Anderson, and that's not really bad, but yeah, the attacking threat is the problem with Anderson. Madueke is going to play against City. Ahmad is going to play against Chelsea. Tavernier, I don't really want to go for a Bournemouth midfielder, which is not called Semenyo. Rice, again, against Manchester City, I don't want to go there. I could go for someone like Shade or for someone like Dango from Brentford, but they also are playing against Fulham, which are a decent defense. I could go for someone like Ndoye or for someone like Hudson-Odoi. Again, Rogers, I have him into my team. Njae, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, these players are playing against Liverpool, so yeah, I don't want to have that on a bench boost. I could honestly go for someone like Soboslai if I really want to take a punt, and if you're going to get a league, maybe that Soboslai is starting, considering that Liverpool is the first kickoff. He could be on some set pieces. He's getting defensive contributions. Again, a pretty crazy punt if you ask me. And other than that, someone like Kudus, someone like Enzo could be nice. Someone like maybe not Paqueta. I don't really want to have Paqueta as a 1 week punt. And yeah, also someone like Xavi Simons and Harvey Elliott, but you can't see them on the list. But let's move to my team. This is my team for Game Week 5, and as I said before, I'm going to sell Sar to a midfielder, and I can afford 7.4 millions. Now, again, I can't afford Semenyo, as I said before. If I'm going to be really confident that Harvey Elliott is going to start against Aston Villa, I know that not a lot of people want to hear that. I really want to take a punt on Harvey Elliott, and I know it sounds a little bit crazy to have triple Aston Villa attack in Game Week 5, considering that they didn't score any goal this season, but yeah, to be honest with you, it sounds funny. So yeah, why not? Again, I think that Elliott in particular, now bearing in mind all the jokes, I think that he's going to be a great option with 5.5 millions in the future. Now, is that enough for me to buy him for Game Week 5? Maybe not. Maybe not. If I'm going to be honest, probably at the moment I prefer to go for someone like Xavi Simons, but again, the same with him. He's not going to play 90 minutes, I think, in this game. The fixture is tougher against Brighton away. But yeah, he's also on some set pieces. So yeah, I like going with Travis Simons, and I'm just going to start him. So this is how my bench boost is going to look like for Game Week 5. Not Sanchez, but again, if you want to have Sanchez, that's perfectly fine. Dubravka is still against Nottingham Forest at home. Could Burnley keep a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest? Maybe, who knows? But again, Ryan Deers, Pedro Porro, a decent enough bench boost. Now, what I want to discuss a little bit here is I'm not 100% sure I'm going to use my wildcard in Game Week 6, and I'm going to try to talk with you about that. Now, obviously, one reason is I'm going to wait to see how Aston Villa are going to perform against Sunderland. Again, the fixtures are there for Aston Villa. I don't really want to keep them. If they are going to blank against Sunderland, yeah, I'm just going to activate the wildcard and be done with it. But if they're going to look decent, again, the only problem is I really want to have Haaland for Game Week 5, and I'm going to need to take a hit. But if I'm going to take that hit, I'm going to buy Semenyo and I'm going to sell Mateta to Haaland. If I select here also the forwards and we go to 14, he's so expensive. So yeah, I'm going to take a hit to sell Mohamed Salah and Mateta to Haaland and Semenyo. Now, this is just a possibility. I'm not saying that I'm going to go along with this plan, but if I'm not going to use my wildcard in Game Week 6, probably I'm just going to take the hit and triple captain Haaland here against Burnley at home. Just take that chance. And if we optimize here, the team doesn't really look that bad. Now, again, I'm going to have to play Anderson against Aston Villa away or Richards against Liverpool at home, and both of them could get defensive contributions, so don't get me wrong. Milenkovic against Sunderland, Sanchez against Brighton, Semenyo, Ryan Deers, Wirtz, Xavi Simons, Haaland, Watkins, and Joao Pedro, all with decent fixtures. A lot of my players are going to play also at home. Rogers is here on the bench. I could even play someone like Rogers instead of Wirtz if I want, or instead of Xavi Simons. So yeah, my team would look decent. Now, bear in mind that this is with a -4. And then if we move to Game Week 7, let's see how my team would look like. Here I could play someone like Dubravka instead of Sanchez. Again, Wirtz against Chelsea is not amazing, but I could even bench Wirtz again or just sell him, right? I will have 0.7 million, so I could sell him, or I could just sell Milenkovic to Gabriel in Game Week 7. This is also a possibility, and the team is not looking really bad, to be honest with you, but it really depends how Aston Villa are going to play in Game Week 5. Rogers, Watkins against Burnley, Xavi Simons, Pedro Porro against Leeds. My defense is looking okay. Joao Pedro is going to play against Liverpool at home. That's not fantastic, but if I'm going to use my wildcard, probably I'm going to keep Joao Pedro, so it doesn't really matter. I have Wirtz here on the bench, and yeah, if I want here, I could take a hit to sell Wirtz, but yeah, probably I'm going to use my wildcard in Game Week 8 or 6. Now, what I really need to figure it out before all of this, I really need to see, is Haaland worth triple captaincy for me to take a hit and not use my wildcard in Game Week 6? Is it really worth it to delay the wildcard in Game Week 8 instead of wildcard in Game Week 6? Now, bear in mind, in Game Week 8, I'm just going to have pretty much a lot of the same players I'm going to have on my wildcard in Game Week 6, because I'm going to want to have 3 players from Arsenal, minimum 2 players from Manchester City. I can do that by just wildcarding in Game Week 6 and be done with it, and also get rid of players like Rogers, Watkins, Wirtz, Mateta, maybe someone like Sanchez also. We don't know how many minutes he's going to have in the future. So again, I really need to decide in the next 2 days if I'm going to wildcard in Game Week 6 or 8, but enough. I think that I bored you a lot with my conversation. So thanks a lot for watching this long. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you're new on this channel, please consider leaving a like. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the content, obviously, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye. Bag dura lor când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic de va. Apoi